everyone, Scott the Scottman, and we're here to do a drive video today. We are heading northwest on M-115. This is a continuation of the video I did last year where I went on M-115 from where it begins in downtown Clare all the way to Highway 131 south of Cadillac. And today we're going to be filming an extra long video today. This is probably almost an hour long, because we're going to be filming M-115 from where we started over at the overpass for 131, and we're going to be heading all the way to where it ends at M-22 in Frankfort, Michigan, over by the shores of Lake Michigan. It is a beautiful evening out, and not too bad out temperature-wise. The car thermometer is reading 67 degrees Fahrenheit. If you convert that to Celsius, it's around 19 degrees, so very comfortable out. But it is like kind of the beginning of Memorial Day weekend, although I'm going up a day early to give myself a 4-day weekend. But I'm planning to spend my long weekend up here, which I've been really looking forward to this visit. I'm going up to the Traverse City, Lower Peninsula, Sleeping Bear Dunes area. It's one of my favorite parts of Michigan. I've not been up in this area, or in that area, in quite some time, which is kind of shocking since it is one of my favorite areas. I was in Cadillac not too long ago though, like last year. Because as a matter of fact, I even filmed a video in Cadillac back in late July of last year. And Cadillac's a pretty nice city. It's got a nice downtown area with a lot of shops and restaurants. And then there's also some beautiful parks in the area too. We'll be driving right by one too in a little bit. And what's cool about M-115 is that we're going to be going in between two lakes here. We got the first one coming up here momentarily. And we're now entering the city limits for Cadillac, although downtown Cadillac is over on the eastern end of Lake Cadillac, which is the lake we have to our right. Long time ago, they used to be called Clam Lake, but the name got changed to Lake Cadillac. Yeah, this area here can get kind of busy just because you got some lodging in here, and of course we have a campground coming up a little bit. Got some small shops and restaurants, including McDonald's and some gas stations. And then we also have the traffic light for M-55. And good timing is just turned green, although they're dawdling a little bit. Okay, there we go. So M-55 west, make a left there. M-55 will take you all the way out to Manistee, which you haven't been to Manistee in quite a while either. That's a nice city. And yeah, to our right, that is W.M. Mitchell State Park. And they got a pretty nice campground in there. Although it looks like they're doing some construction right now, so yeah, the campground's not currently open yet. And Lake Mitchell is off to the left. And then to the right, as a part of the state park, Mitchell State Park, you got very nice hiking trails back in there. And one thing I forgot to mention, well, first, okay, so you have 18 miles to the next town, which is Mesick, and then 51 miles until we get to Frankfort. So anyway, what I was trying to say is, the two lakes, Lake Mitchell and Lake Cadillac, they are connected by a canal that was built back, I think, back in the 19th century, if I remember right. And I remember when I was filming my video, man, I'm having a hard time talking today. What I'm trying to say is, yeah, when I was filming my video of Cadillac last year, I remember walking along the canal there, and I remember seeing all kinds of different boats going through the canal which goes between the two lakes. And yeah, after we passed by those two lakes, yeah, we're out of Cadillac. We're now in Selma Township. And because I'm filming this in the evening, yeah, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of sun glare in this video, especially at times when we curve more to the west. So we'll be seeing a lot of that in this video. So yeah, hopefully it's not too bad for the video. Yeah, with this video, I've pretty much been coming straight from work. Just because yeah, the hotel I'm staying at in Frankfort, yeah, the check-in desk closes at 8 o'clock, and I'm trying to hurry up there a little bit. The good news is that by the time I get done with this video and I get there, I'll have a little bit of time to spare. But yeah, 115 going northwest of the Lake Mitchell area and the whole Cadillac area. It's been quite a few years since I've been up in this part. And I don't remember this traffic light being here. But yeah, there is a lot of traffic heading up this weekend, and not only that, but early too, because yeah, it's typically a 3-day for Memorial Day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend where usually Friday's a work day, but a lot of people do take off on the Friday to give themselves a 4-day weekend, which is pretty much exactly what I did. So yeah, it's going to be pretty busy up here this weekend, although tomorrow may not be too bad. Which is why tomorrow I'm planning to go to Sleeping Bear Dunes, and then check out all the different communities up in the Lower Peninsula, such as Suns Bay, Glen Arbor, Empire, Leland. So if I go Saturday, I'll probably have to deal with even more crowds. But yeah, I was telling myself earlier this year, is like, I have to make a trip up here. I have to make a trip up here. Because it's been way too long since I've headed up to this area. But it's like, of course, the thing is, I've been playing a lot of like out-of-state travel. But I usually like to do something at least once in the state of Michigan that's like at least a weekend trip. Because I did that. Yeah, I did that last year when I went up to, or not up, but I went over to Grand Rapids for Labor Day weekend. And then 2 years ago, I went up around the 4th to go to Sault Ste. Marie, Copemish Falls, Whitefish Point, that area. Which, yeah, it's like, yeah, next time I go up to Whitefish Point, yeah, it's going to be kind of bittersweet just because Gordon Lightfoot, a very famous Canadian folk singer, sadly passed away just a couple weeks or so ago. Which he's famous for a lot of great songs, such as Sundown, If You Could Read My Mind, Rainy Day People, Beautiful, and of course, my favorite song of his, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So, like, what I was trying to say is, yeah, because at near Whitefish Point is, back in 1975, is where the Edmund Fitzgerald sank during the really bad storm that was taking place in Lake Superior. And of course, that's the premise of the song. So it's like, yeah, the next time I go up there, just gonna feel weird with the fact that Gordon Lightfoot's no longer with us. And we are now entering the Manistee National Forest. Northern Lower Michigan has a lot of different national and state forest land. Because you have the Manistee National Forest over here, and then over toward the eastern part of the state, like the northeastern part of the state, you have the Huron National Forest. And then we go up to the Upper Peninsula, then you have the Hiawatha National Forest over in the eastern part of the UP. But in addition to that, there are some state forests in here as well too. It's like, yeah, with these forested lands, like you got a lot of hiking trails, different campgrounds, and especially in the wintertime, you have snowmobile trails. Because snowmobiling is a very popular activity up here in the wintertime. That is something I would love to do sometime, but I have never done it before. I'm sure it'd be quite a thrill. I don't know, it's like I have a hard time going outside in the wintertime just because, yeah, it's like I can tolerate the heat a lot more I can tolerate the cold, despite the fact I live in Michigan. Which is pretty much why almost every Christmas, well, with the exception of Christmas Day and like Christmas Eve, is always, of course, seeing family here in Michigan. But after Christmas, almost every year, I pretty much go down south for at least a week or two just to get out of the cold air. Although I will say, when I did go to Alabama, like at the very end of 2022, start of 2023, it was pretty mild here. And heck, it was pretty mild going through a lot of January this year too, because I remember back in January, I went up to the Idaho Springs, west of Boscoda, over on the eastern side, the northeastern side of the state, and there was no snow on the ground. It was chilly, but it's like, to not see snow on the ground in northern Michigan in January, that is pretty odd, I have to say. I think coming up in about another mile, we have one of the many passing lanes that are on M-115. Which passing lanes are a nice opportunity where people are going a little slow, you can easily go around them without having to get over into the other side of traffic. But everybody up ahead is moving pretty well, so there's no need to pass up anybody. But yeah, I was not wanting to film almost a full hour for this video, just because it'd be a long video. It's like, yeah, for any of the longer driving videos that go 50 minutes or close to an hour, if you watch the entire thing, I applaud you. Especially in one sitting. But it's like, there's no real easy way to break up the stretch between 131 and M-22. Because coming up about like several miles or so, like 8-9 miles, we'll be coming up to M37, which is the next highway, and that's not all that far from Cadillac. So having only like a 20-minute video is not really ideal. I could have done it, but I don't know. I feel like I'd be not showing enough. And after that, I don't think we come up to any more major highways or points of interest until we get to Highway 31 south of Benzonia. But yeah, not a single cloud in the sky. So this is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I've been getting very lucky with these trips I've been doing lately, with the exception of when I went to Holland a couple or 3 weekends ago, where it ran into a little bit of rain for a couple hours while I was there. But other than that, for some of these longer trips, like this one, and also when I went to Massachusetts, I've had like spectacular weather, like lots of sunshine, no rain, or very little rain. Because yeah, when I'm going with me going up here, I'm planning to film a lot of videos. Like, definitely want to film a couple in the Traverse City area. I definitely want to do something in the Lower Peninsula. Because I know people will really enjoy the content, just because I know that it's a very popular area, and The videos I have from the area are like several years old, and they need to be replaced. The last time I was up in the area may have been 7 years, which is mind-boggling just because I love the area so much. But at the same time, one reason is the fact that during the warmer months, because keep in mind I work during the week, so it's kind of hard to get up to the Traverse City area during the summertime because it's always very crowded on the weekends. And then, of course, the first half of July, you have the Cherry Festival in Traverse City. So it's like, it's really crowded. And if I want to spend a weekend up in Traverse City, it's insanely expensive to stay up there on the weekends, even if it's not a holiday. That's kind of why I'm staying in Frankfort, Michigan. I'm staying like at a small little hotel there. It's like not even half. It's like half the price of what I would be paying in Traverse City for like a Fairfield Inn. Which Fairfield Inns, like if you say to any of the Marriott branded properties, Fairfield Inn is like the budget hotel for Marriott. It's like the 2-star hotel. Fairfield Inns can be pretty nice, especially like the newer ones. But like even like the Fairfield Inn up in Traverse City was like double the price of what I'm paying in Frankfort. And Frankfort, Michigan's only like an hour away from Traverse City, so it's not all that bad. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm finally getting a chance to head up here. And one of my big worries is that I was going to finally make it up here after so long and it'd be a rain out. Thankfully, it's going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be nice and sunny the entire time, which is really nice. Although it's drying up here a little bit. So it's like the area could use a little bit of rain, but at least for the purpose of this trip, it's holding off until afterward. But at least the good news is that Michigan is not really in a drought right now because it has been very wet for a lot of the year. So I think even down in the Detroit area, back down in southeast Michigan, I thought I was reading that there's been like 1 to 4 inches of rain more than average up to this point. So it's like when the soil is still kind of moist a little bit, or it's had quite a bit of rainfall for a while, it's like we could go for a little bit of time before seeing rain without seeing any, I don't want to say devastation, that's a little bit too extreme, but dryness to where it could start affecting crops. Because let's just say it's like if the Michigan sweet corn can't grow very well and I can't enjoy some delicious Michigan sweet corn later in the year, I'll be a sad, sad panda. See, I think in 2 or 3 minutes from now, we'll be coming up to the next town, which is Mesick. Which, if I remember right, I don't think there's a whole lot that goes on in there, especially compared to Cadillac. Because Cadillac, even though we don't go through downtown Cadillac on M-115, but it's like the largest city that's along the highway from beginning to end. despite it not raining for a while, everything is still nice and green, which is really, really nice. And one thing I'm thankful too is that we got blue skies again, because so unfortunately over in like British Columbia and Alberta and Western Canada, there's been some wildfires over there, like, so because of that, it's blown a lot of like smoke from those wildfires, even as far as Michigan. But we had a cold front come through on Wednesday and it pushed the smoke away from us. Although I was hearing that it was even going all the way over to like Washington, D.C. and the East Coast. So it's like the bad thing about that is that it makes the skies more, it's like it's sunny, but it looks like it's very, very hazy to where it looks more white than this blue. But one nice thing though is that you can get some really nice sunrises and sunsets because the sun is very, very red. But like at the same time though, I like having blue skies and
at the traffic circle, take the second exit onto Michigan 115 West, Michigan 37 South.
It's like I like the blue skies and of course a nice fresh clean air. And we are now coming up to M37, but north M37. And oh yeah, you can tell I haven't been here in a while. See, we're now entering the village of Mesick, and this roundabout does not look familiar to me. So I think they put this in not too long ago, like within the past few years or something. So M37 north continues to the right, and that'll take you up to Traverse City.
Exit the traffic circle onto Michigan 115 West.
And south
continue on Michigan 115 West for 1 mile.
M37 south runs are concurrent with M-115 for about a mile or so. So if you're going to Traverse City and you're going to, or you're coming from like Grand Rapids, 131, I think you want to take 131 and get off at M-115, basically where we started this video, and then you head north on M37 north, and that'll take you straight up that way. Which yeah, technically you even do that too if you're coming from the southeastern part of the state. Although usually if I'm going to Traverse City and I'm coming from the Detroit or Flint area, I'm usually staying on I-75 and I get off in Grayling and take M72 west. Yeah, but Mesick's not a large town. There's a few stores, and I think there's even like a couple of restaurants in here too. I've never stopped at Mesick though. I've always just driven through.
In a quarter mile, continue straight onto Michigan 115 West, West Messick Avenue.
But yeah, it's pretty funny how Google Maps is saying Mesick, where according to the Michigan Pronunciation Guide, it's pronounced Mesick.
Continue straight onto Michigan 115 West, West Messick Avenue.
So M37 South heads to the south from here. So you want to head M37 South, you make a left turn there. And M37 will take you all the way down to Grand Rapids. Oh, nice. They actually have the speed limit 65 here. You can tell I haven't been on this part of M115 in a long time. Because yeah, in the past several years or so, they've been starting to increase some of the speed limits on some of these 2-lane highways that are very remote. Oh, like we got 32 miles to go till we get to Frankfort and 25 miles until Benzonia. And we just went over the Manistee River, which the Manistee River goes into Manistee before entering out into Lake Michigan. I forgot what I was trying to say now. I hate when that happens, when it's like something else comes to my mind when I'm talking about something, and then all of a sudden it's like I forget exactly what I was talking about. would be M-22s up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's, like, for example, there is that really, really boring stretch of M-28, which goes, I think, through the Saney Wildlife Refuge or something. It's the area between like Newberry and Manistee, where like you go miles and miles and miles and miles. It's just very flat and very straight. Like you can see for 10 miles down the road. And all you see is just nothing but trees. Like not really a whole lot to see. But what's nice is that the speed limit there is now 65 miles per hour, where back when I was younger it was 55. So now it's like you can legally get through there a lot quicker. Although people still tend to go like 10, 15 over on that anyway. But I do hear that even like on that stretch of M28, even though the speed limit is 65 miles per hour, like people going 10 or 15 over, I've heard people do get pulled over in there. We got somebody making a left turn up ahead. And now we're starting to curve more back to the west again. So, but anyway, I've been really looking forward to this upcoming weekend, and be a nice getaway from the Metro Detroit area. It's like I'd love to get to somewhere else in the United States for this weekend, like I have like the past 2 years, but it's been a while since I've been up in Traverse City area, so I knew this would be a really good time to head up there. Busy, it's gonna be busy up in Traverse City this weekend, but not as busy as 4th of July weekend, where it's gonna be around the time when the Cherry Festival starts, and people from all over will head up there. I definitely need to check out the Cherry Festival at some point, although I would really need to plan ahead for that one. Just because it can get pretty crazy up there. Well, heck, when I went to the Tulip Time Festival in Holland, that was really busy. Because what I did for that one, because Holland is only like 3 hours away from the Metro Detroit area, so it's not all that far. However, it's really busy there. So what I ended up doing is I spent 2 nights in Grand Rapids. Oh, and we're now entering Manistee County. We just left Wexford County. Anyway, so if you're staying in the Grand Rapids area, I did that because the hotel rates were a lot cheaper, and it's only like the hotel I stayed at. I think it's in Granville, Michigan. It's only a half hour from Holland, so it's not too bad of a drive. Plus, I was only going to the Tulip Festival for 1 day. And that was a really good idea because I was able to get into Holland like at 7:30 in the morning, and it was not all that crowded at all at that time. I was able to find parking very easily. It's like I got to basically pick where I wanted to park. And then it's like 2 hours later, if I were to come in, that's when I started to see all the traffic rolling in, where things would have gotten a lot more chaotic. So I probably would have to do this almost the same thing for Traverse City. But the only problem is that Traverse City is a little bit further away from like any of the larger cities. So it's like I would have to stay probably, I don't know, maybe even in Gaylord or something. Gaylord, or I don't even know if there are any hotels or anything in Grayling. Although, or it's like, or go camping. But it's like it'd be something I'd have to plan like several months ahead of time, because it can get really crowded up there, as I was just saying a few times already. over on Lake Michigan, so I'll have to check out a couple of them because there are some great sunset spots over in the whole Sleeping Bear Dunes area. Because you can get some cool ones, of course, at the dunes themselves. You can get some nice ones over in Frankfort and the village of Alberta next door. And of course, there's Inspiration Point along M-22 near Arcadia, which that's probably my favorite sunset spot in the entire state of Michigan. Yeah, back when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time up here. Like, my parents and I would go camping in the Sleeping Bear Dunes area all the time. Like, we're even going to be driving by the campground we stayed at a few times later in the video. Because, yeah, I'll point out the campground when we go by. It's called Timberline Campground. It's over near Benzonia. It's right around where M-115 hooks up with Highway 31. I just remember the very first year we were going to go camping there, and so yeah, so a little story. So yeah, we were going to go camping there. I think it was like the end of July. We were going with some of my aunts and uncles. We also had, like, my aunt also came up from one of my aunts. I have an aunt who lives in Texas who came up with my cousin, and of course also one of my aunts and uncles and my cousins who lives up here in Michigan. And, you know, we all went camping there. Spent like a long weekend, which was a lot of fun. We almost didn't get to go though, because what ended up happening, I think just days before or something, we had a really bad thunderstorm hit the Metro Detroit area, and a tree ended up falling on our vehicle. Like, keep in mind, this was back when I was a kid, so I wasn't driving it. Like, it was we had a Jeep Cherokee Sport. Oh, back to that in a second. We were now in the village of Copemish, which, yeah, Copemish is not really all that big. Is not all that big. Anyway, so getting back to my story, so a tree ended up falling on the Jeep, and I don't think we got a rental car or anything like that. But it's like what we ended up doing is that we borrowed I think a Suburban from one of my aunts and uncles, not the ones that we were going up north with, because it was like my dad's side of the family. But we borrowed a Suburban from another aunt and uncle of mine, who was my mom's younger sister. And it was really, really nice of them that they allowed us to borrow their Suburban for the trip. So that way we could, I think we ended up having to go up a day later. But we still got to go on the camping trip, and so we did the trips. Like, we got to spend a lot of time at the campground. We went to Sleeping Bear Dunes. We did the Pier Stocking Drive. I don't think we did the dune climb though, which I'm kind of surprised by that. But we also went tubing on the Platte River, which the Platte River is a nice river which empties out into the part of the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. It's south of Empire, Michigan, like between Empire and Frankfort. Although they say nowadays that you want to stay along the shore so that way you can stay away from the deeper part of the lake. But I think we end up crossing the middle part of the lake, and we were really tired by the end of the day. And then I remember we always checked out a bunch of different sunsets over in that part of the state too. And here's the Betsy River. It will not be the last time we'll be going over that river. Because yeah, the Betsy River ends up heading all the way over to Lake Michigan, kind of over in the Frankfort area. Up anyway, we had a lot of great camping trips up there, and then yeah, with the Jeep, it's like the Jeep would end up getting repaired, and so it wasn't totaled or anything. So it got repaired, and then after the camping trip, we got the Jeep back, and we were all happy. And yeah, just before that mobile gas station, we're now in Benzonia County, which will be in Benzonia County for the rest of this video. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Benzonia County is the smallest county in the state of Michigan. Anyway, so going back to the because I'm almost to the end of the story. Oh, to the left, that is Crystal Mountain. So I'm trying to finish my story about if you're seeing a lot of cool points of interest. But yeah, to the left, that is Crystal Mountain. That is one of the many ski resorts in northern Michigan. So in the winter time, that can get pretty busy for everybody going skiing and snowboarding. I've never been in there, so I'm curious what that is like. I'm curious if they got any hiking trails or either biking trails or downhill biking trails in there during the warmer months. I'd have to do some research on that one. Yeah, hardly any traffic over here, so this is really nice. It's definitely a lot different compared to when I first started M-115 today, because before I filmed this video, there was quite a bit of traffic on the stretch between Highway 10 and 131, which was the stretch of 115 I did not film in this video. So going back to the end of the story, so we ended up getting the Jeep back, and when I turned 16, like my parents ended up having a Ford Explorer, and as a present for me for my 16th birthday, that same Jeep ended up becoming my very first vehicle. But yeah, I am very, very, very thankful for both my parents for giving me the Jeep for my first vehicle. And I had that for 2.5 years, I believe. And then unfortunately, during my freshman year of university, I ended up getting into a minor car accident. I was not at fault in that, thankfully. But the Jeep ended up getting totaled, and I ended up having to get a different car. And because I was just starting off in university, didn't have a ton of money, but I had enough to where I could get a lease on a very first Ford Focus. And I saw that police officer. He's kind of being a little sneaky in there, because he's in the shade, and it's like, yeah, that's why you don't want to go 10 over the speed limit on this road. They'll get you. Because especially with the speed limit now being 65 miles per hour, because if people are going 75 or 80, if I was going 75 miles per hour back there, that cop would pull me over and probably give me a ticket. Although, to be honest with you, I have not gotten a speeding ticket. So it wouldn't surprise me if I were just to get off with a warning, but you never know. He could be like, I can't let you go that fast. I'm afraid I have to give you a ticket. Because I think they probably enforced the speed limits a little bit more strictly on the 65-mile-per-hour roads because it was big enough for them just to bump up the speed limit from 55 to 65. There's a vehicle pulled over up ahead, so I gotta. Oh, he's looks like he's mostly in the shoulder, but yeah, I'll need to go a little slower around him. Yep, and here's the Betsy River once again. But it's not gonna be the last time we'll be seeing the river either. Yeah, he's partially in the road. Yeah, the shoulders aren't all that wide, but of course he's hauling a trailer, so that's kind of understandable. So yeah, say we got like another couple minutes left, and then we'll be meeting up with Highway 31. So yeah, it's like with that Jeep Cherokee Sport, it's like, yeah, the car was in our family for 11 years because we first got it in when we were living in Houston, Texas for 4 years. We got that back in 1995. And then it was the family car until 2002 when they were going to hold it aside for me for when I turned 16, plus it was the vehicle that I was going to be learning how to drive in. And in 2002, they ended up getting a Ford Explorer. So for like a good year and a half, it was pretty much just sitting there for the most part, not really being used. And then it started to become my car until it reached its terrible fate at the very end there. Thankfully, in that accident, though, it was minor, and nobody was hurt or anything. But yeah, lots of great memories in that, and of course, also some great memories with camping up here too. Because yeah, it's like we went camping up here 3 times. I think all 3 times we went with one of my aunt's uncle, my aunt, uncle, and my cousin. Who I think my aunt that I'm referring to is my dad's oldest sister. It's like, yeah, we used to go camping with them all the time. It's like, it was a lot of fun. We used to go, of course, tubing down the Platte River all the time. We got to check out a lot of beautiful sunsets. That's how I first learned about Inspiration Point, with the best, in my opinion, the best sunset spot in the western side of Michigan. And we are about to approach the stop sign for Highway 31. So coming up here for about the next 2.5 miles, we're going to be running concurrent with Highway 31, and we'll get a nice break from the sun glare because we'll be heading due north for a little over 2 miles. Oh, well, that car is not making a right turn. Okay, and there's vehicles coming, and that vehicle is in my way, but I can see around. Okay. So now we're still on M-115, but now we're running along Highway 31. And yeah, when I was talking about Timberline Campground, here is one of 2 entrances to it. So Timberline Campground, you can drive in to the left there, but you can also go into the campground from this Shell station. So it's like you make a left turn here at the gas station, and then you're in the campground. Yep, it's like that's where we went camping for at least 3 times when I was growing up. It was a lot of fun staying over there. Because yeah, that was, from what I remember, that was a nice campground. They had a nice swimming pool, outdoor swimming pool that they had there. It was fun to go in that, even though of course it was fun too going over into Lake Michigan. said we were going to go over across the Betsy River again. Well, here we go again. Here's the Betsy River. And there's also public access for the river in this area too. And we have another campground off to the left there too. It's like we never stayed there. It's like, yeah, the campground doesn't look all that. There's quite a bit of people there, but there's still a lot of spaces open, although it's probably be a different story at this time tomorrow. Some stores over here. So we're now entering the village of Benzonia. You got Family Fare here. Got an Ace Hardware, H&R Block even. There's also McDonald's here. And speaking of Jeep, there's a dealership that has Jeep as well as Dodge, Ram, and Chrysler. I don't think they make the Jeep Cherokee Sport anymore though. Oh, there's a miniature golf course there too. So over in this area, it's like we got the village of Benzonia, and there's also, we won't be going through it, but there's also a village called Beulah, which is...
In a quarter mile, turn left to stay on Michigan 115 West.
Which, yeah, Beulah is immediately right after Benzonia. And yeah, this is like downtown Benzonia here. I got a nice little park off to the right, Academy Park. And to continue on M-115, we'll be making a left turn here at this traffic light. If we were to continue north on Highway 31...
Take the second left to stay on Michigan 115 West.
If we were to continue north on Highway 31, we'd be going through Beulah, and then we'll eventually be heading over to Traverse City. And for the rest of this video, we got
Continue for 7 miles.
And lots of sunshine. So we got like another 7 miles to go in this video, and then we'll be finally to Frankfort. And I'm not sure how well you can see it up ahead, but yeah, off in the distance, that is Crystal Lake, which is one of the largest inland lakes in the state of Michigan. It's like, yeah, I also remember too that I think my parents and I went swimming in Crystal Lake when I was a kid during one of the camping trips, and I think I ended up getting swimmer's itch from that. That was like a long time ago. Yeah, this is pretty scenic along in here. Got some nice rolling hills, and but yeah, it's like with doing this video, it's like it's gone by a lot quicker than I thought. It's like it helps when I tell stories because like it really passes the time. Well, heck, back a long time ago, that's how people passed the time. Because we didn't have like TV, they didn't have TV, they didn't have video games, they didn't have football or hockey or baseball on TV or even going to a live game. It's like people just told stories, different things like that. It's like it really passes the time. And if you make a right turn here, you got public access to Crystal Lake. What's nice though is that my hotel is right in Frankfort, so I'd pretty much be getting to the hotel like within minutes after I finish this video, which is good because I gotta check in the hotel, drop off my stuff, and I don't know, part of me is debating going to check out a sunset tonight. It's like I might as well while I'm here. Of course, one thing too is I do have to get up early tomorrow morning because I'm going to be heading to the Lower Peninsula. Because I got a lot of exploring to do tomorrow. And you want to know one thing that's surprising? I have not had a sip of water yet filming this video. I think I need to do that now. That's better. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not. Yeah, again, I'm surprised I have not needed water sooner than this. But then again, I think just a couple nights ago, I was doing a live Q&A stream for my followers on Patreon. Because yeah, it's like because yeah, I'm trying to do a couple of a couple of live streams for everybody a year. I just did one back in April, but every month though, I try to do like monthly Q&A streams for patrons on Patreon. But yeah, if you're not obligated to or anything, but if you want to contribute to my Patreon, yeah, I have the link in my video description. Oh, it's in all my video descriptions if you're interested. Because yeah, it's like, because I think if you pledge $5 a month, that I offer monthly live Q&A streams. But I will say though is I am trying to do 2 a year, which are for everybody, because I don't want to leave everybody out, you know. I'm gonna turn off my navigation so that way it doesn't go crazy on me when I'm wrapping up the video. Because yeah, I know how to get up here. I mainly do it just so I can keep track on my arrival time and to make sure I'm not about to encounter any traffic accidents or something where I have to take like a detour. Because as I was coming up to northern Michigan today, I had to take I-475 in Flint because there was some type of an accident on I-75 north of the Pearson Road exit, which would have delayed things a little bit if I would have gone that way, which is the way I normally go. Yeah, this is nice and calm. And all the way off in the distance, that is Lake Michigan. Be much of a sunset tonight because there are a lot of high clouds off to the west. It's hard to say though, it could just be high clouds. And then we're not able to see it too well because of the sun, but yeah, at the top of that hill over there, we got a pretty cool sign that's basically saying like, welcome to Frankfort. You'd be able to see it better if it's like the morning where the sun's shining from the east toward the west. All right. Okay, so it just says, yeah, Frankfort welcomes you. So we'll film this all the way to M-22, which yeah, we're about to come to M-22 now. So yep, hope you enjoyed this video here on M-115 as we've gone from Highway 131 south of Cadillac all the way to where it ends at M-22 here in Frankfort. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click that subscribe button to come along and join me for the adventure. And don't forget to click that notification bell so that way you know when a new video goes live. Well, thank you for watching, and this is Scott of the Scott Man signing out.